My name's Leslie Warren. I'm the chair of the Alliance for Environmental Leadership. It's an organization of 14 groups who've come together under the Alliance umbrella because we believe that speaking with one voice, speaking together, we're stronger. And we want to be stronger because citizens' voices are important to achieving a healthy living environment, protecting our community today and for future generations. And there's an imbalance of power in Placer County, even though Placer County government, the Board of Supervisors, is us. I mean, they are our voices. We feel that citizens' voices have been depressed and that the voices of development interests are defining our county and causing our county not to achieve social justice goals that should be a part of any successful, thriving, healthy community. The Alliance for Environmental Leadership organized around a key project called the Sunset Area Plan. It's a plan where the county is proposing to create a new industrial city as large or larger than the city of Roseville in the vernal pool wetlands and farmland between Lincoln and Roseville. The citizen-initiated smart growth plan is an alternative to the county's development, and we were fortunate to secure grant funds to hire an urban designer, Genevieve Marsh of Agile Architecture, to put together a smart growth plan for the West Placer Prairie, as we call it. And it's called a prairie rather than a grassland because the grasses that are the flora in the West Placer are native grasses, and that therefore it's characterized as a prairie as opposed to a grassland, which is typically introduced exotic plants. So today we're going to walk you through the citizen-initiated smart growth plan and let you know about the work that the Alliance for Environmental Leadership is doing. We're going to start with the environmental setting in West Placer, around which we have built a citizen-initiated smart growth plan for development. Next, we'll show you why the citizen-initiated smart growth plan fits in the West Placer Prairie as opposed to the county's plan. We've done that by showing the 15 square mile proposed development area, which is called the Sunset Area, in context with development in Lincoln, Rockland, and Roseville. Then we're going to be looking at the users that will be occupying this future urban area in our county and what their preferences are going to be during the short term, 20 years out, longer term, 50, and up to 80 years out, because this is an 80-year plan. Finally, we're going to show you how the citizen-initiated smart growth plan designs for these users. And of course, we don't have a crystal ball to know what people are going to want 50 years from now, but we are looking at social trends and using the best research data available today to create a smart growth city to support the needs of these new target users that will be coming to our county. And finally, we'll be showing you through our citizen-initiated smart growth plan how this project is more beneficial to the environment, is more fiscally responsible, and is more future forward than the plan that the county is proposing. This is just to put you in context. This is Roseville, this is Rockland, and up here we have Lincoln. And in the middle of it all is a beautiful Placer County riparian habitat, riparian wetland vernal pool habitat, which the county calls the Sunset Area. For 30 years, the county's proposed to develop this for industrial uses exclusively. In the last 4 years, that plan has changed to take this lower third of the property and make it a single-family urban sprawl anchored by a 30,000 student university right in the middle of it. The carrot for the county to change their vision from an industrial job center to a single-family sprawl was the gift by the developer of this 300-acre site for the proposed new California State University campus. It's also proposed to be a new Sierra College satellite. What we have on the site now is a very dynamic and complex ecosystem. Migratory fowl from across the globe traverse this on the Pacific Flyway. The area is saturated by water through the winter and into the spring because of a clay pan that's underneath the soils, and they create the phenomenon called vernal pools, which cover the site. 7,000 acres of the site are currently used for agricultural purposes. In the center of it all is our dump. This is the materials recovery facility that many of you probably are familiar with. On this side of the site, we have existing industrial uses. On the northern portion of the site are existing preserves that were created to mitigate losses of significant habitat for other developments that have occurred in Placer County previously. This red line going through here is, amazingly, it's the demarcation of two watersheds. And who would think, looking out over the West Placer Prairie, that actually there's a ridge line here, and water on this side of the watershed drains to Pleasant Grove, and water on this side of the watershed drains to Auburn Ravine. This is the county's proposed development plan for the West Placer Prairie. In general, this is high density industrial uses with heavy trucks coming in and out, manufacturing, big noisy, big employment generating uses. In fact, the employment generated here is going to add 900,000 new daily vehicular trips to our roadways. Here, as I described before, is the university site and the primarily single-family sprawl in what is called the Placer Ranch project. There's 4 main owners here: the United Auburn Indian Community, Athens Partner, AKT Investments, and the Placer Ranch Development, which is an Eli Road operation. Here we have the existing industrial uses, and right here is Placer Parkway, a proposed new expressway that is connecting to Highway 65 and to connect people over to Highway 5. Actually, over to 550. I'd like to introduce Genevieve Marsh, who was hired by the Alliance for Environmental Leadership to create an alternative plan for West Placer. This is an unprecedented situation where citizens have come together, raised funds, and hired a consultant to bring forward a development plan for our county that is different from the plan that the county's proposing. And it's why we were able to do this and why we're taking this opportunity is it's a unique situation in that the county is actually the project applicant for this giant 15 square mile development. Usually a developer comes forward with a plan, pays for all the engineering, planning, drainage, infrastructure studies, and the environmental impact reports that need to be done to move a project forward. In this case, you and I are paying for this development scheme, and in light of that, we decided we'd like the county to consider a citizen-initiated development plan for this site that has the environment in the forefront of our thinking. We're very fortunate to have found Genevieve Marsh to bring our concept to fruition. Genevieve?
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Leslie, and thank you for explaining some of the environmental context. This is a collage of our human context. We have the general plans of Roseville, Rockland, Lincoln, and the county, all overlaid with the Placer County Conservation Plan. The conservation plan is the big green area, and this is a 2-mile radius around the Sunset area. The light yellow is low-density residential zoning, single-family sprawl. And on this image, it measures to 60,000 acres of that one type of use. Historically, the Sunset area has just been for agriculture and industry. This has prevented Roseville from building houses right up next to the dump in the Sunset area, and also stopped Lincoln and Rockland from flooding this space with our most popular land use type, single-family houses. If we were to allow the county's current general plan update to take place, all of this would be converted to that light yellow, and we would have more industrial sprawl across the rest of the site. This would be unfortunate because it would gobble up the opportunities for different large industrial businesses to locate in Placer County, and it would also compromise the enhancement of the industrial corridor. In light purple, we see that the Roseville's industrial corridor connects to the Sunset areas and Rocklands, and then up on 65 there's more industrial for Lincoln. So that's something that spans all of our jurisdictions. At the same time, the general plan amendment framework is for 50, 80 years of build-out. That means that it is the framework for me and my generation and younger generations. And my generation is already proving that we do not like low-density suburban monoculture housing and low-density industrial sprawl. Instead, we are locating in innovation ecosystems. And this may sound like a buzzword to some of you, but to me it's a two-word synopsis of an entire development strategy. Imagine a university student is studying in the same community where she lives. She is going out into the town and meeting other people at cafes and restaurants. She's interning in that local community at another business. She graduates from university and can start her business in that same area and scale it. The zoning around her allows for her to go into production, distribution, research and development, and office, all in that same community, so that she can one day accept interns from that local university to come and learn with her. Now we're going to watch this brief video that will summarize what an innovation ecosystem is further.
The geography of innovation is shifting. To find the innovative economy 20 years ago, a worker needed to drive to a secluded research park, work in isolation, and keep ideas secret. Today, proximity is everything. Workers want to be in urban places that are walkable, bikeable, hyper-caffeinated, where they can bump into other workers and share ideas. Firms also want to be close to other firms, research labs, and universities in collaborative spaces so that smart ideas can be turned into smart products for the market. Innovation districts are this century's productive geography. They are both competitive places and cool spaces, and they will transform your city and metropolis.
Innovation ecosystem districts are geographical areas where a leading-edge anchor institution, such as a university, and companies cluster together and connect with startups, business incubators, and accelerators. They are also physically compact. They are transit accessible and technologically wired. They offer mixed-use housing, office, and retail. They consider the entirety of somebody's life cycle and business cycle to make a live-work environment that is inclusive of everybody. Now there are 18 cities across the United States that are all incorporating innovation ecosystems into their redevelopment districts. 6 of them are repurposing old industrial areas like we have the opportunity to in the Sunset area. These cities are Boston, Brooklyn, Chicago, Portland, Providence, San Francisco, Seattle, but our Sacramento region does not have an innovation ecosystem on the books. Turning the Sunset area into one would differentiate it in our region from all of the low industrial development parks. Now, the one other ingredient that we need in West Placer to have an effective innovation ecosystem is an attractive and useful green space. When businesses are locating to the suburbs, that is the feel that they want around their offices and campuses. That's the place where people connect and interact and engage with others in the company and outside of the company. So we've done that through our urban recreation district, where we have our riparian corridors along our stream sheds. Next to it, we have recreation for commuter trails and park amenities. And then we have housing that opens up onto the park and secondary business fronts that open up onto the park. So it's lively. This is the place where people go when they go outside to get somewhere else in the community. Now, as a conceptual exercise, let's consider where we should place the university in the Sunset area. We know that the number one most important thing is to maximize access to the university and from the university to as much different uses and businesses and places to live as possible. So, in blue, we've located the university in the mixed-use district, our innovation ecosystem district, so that university students are enmeshed in town life. These represent walking radiuses, and by locating the university here, we are in walking distance to a huge amount of the industrial area in Roseville, which are all internship opportunities. This site also happens to be an adaptive reuse opportunity, meaning that there is already infrastructure like roads, electricity, and sewer, and some buildings. This dramatically reduces the cost of starting a university from where the county proposes to put it, which is 300 acres of rare habitat. Locating it here not only is very poor in terms of maximizing access, but it also will require an estimated $40 million of mitigation fees before breaking ground. That's more than twice the value of the land donation from the developer. Leslie?
The citizen-initiated Smart Growth Plan, as I said from the beginning, looks at the site and the development proposal in context of what the environment is, not by the boundaries of property ownership. This area in purple was one of the main constraints to our development plan, because what this represents is the 1 mile smell buffer that the county has maintained since the materials recovery facility was built 30 years ago. This smell buffer is now proposed, as we've described before, to be single-family sprawl and all the uses that go along with a community of 7,000 sprawling homes. That would mean schools. There's a grammar school, a middle school, and as we described before, a university proposed to be, and a senior housing community, like the Del Webb's community, to be built within this smell buffer indicated in the purple that back in the 1990s, the county litigated with another developer to prohibit residential uses to encroach into this smell zone buffer because it was protecting our investment in the materials recovery facility. They're protecting it because people that would live in a smell buffer would want to get rid of the smell offender, and the NIMBY situation that would create is a threat to the MRF. And where would you otherwise locate a facility like this? They're very hard to locate. So the citizen-initiated smart growth plan is protecting the county's our previous investment and being realistic that to relocate another materials recovery facility is just not going to happen. So we've moved the university and the residential uses out of the smell buffer zone over into this area where the innovation ecosystem can be realized, and the dynamic interaction between students, businesses, and industrial users, and all the technological companies that are going to be creating things that we probably have no idea about because it's going to be happening 20, 50, 80 years out. They will be doing that in this very dynamic corner, and this health and the health and safety of people will be protected by not allowing them to be situated here in single-family homes.
So how does the Sunset area compare to other innovation districts in terms of scale? Well, Fremont has an innovation district called Warm Springs Innovation District that is approximately the same size as what we think we can accommodate at maximum. Our industrial area converted into Innovation Ecosystem District is 870 acres. That's really big. So how do we get that started? Well, the downtown project in Las Vegas is a very interesting example. In this picture here, we're looking at 45 acres where a smattering of properties have been purchased. That total real estate investment was $200 million. And then an additional $150 million was put into small businesses and an arts festival. So not only was this developer helping upgrade the infrastructure, but also helping facilitate new uses that enliven that public space. A few years down the road, they started in the early 2010s, the initial investment of $350 million was being generated every year and a half in economic output and salaries. That is really good, and a part of that is that it made 1,500 new jobs, new consistent, long-term jobs. Market rate affordable housing exists in Placer County. We just do not have the quantity of it to supply the demand that we have for it. The average house price is 34% higher than what an affluent family in South Placer can afford. Multi-tenant is the price range of the vast majority of people that live in our community and those that move into our community. So what we see here on this graph is different income levels and the corresponding price of an affordable home for that income level. At the very top, we have our average sales price for a single-family home in Placer County, which is way above the affordability range for even our affluent families. Looking at the price tags for our multi-tenant buildings, in West Lincoln, we're capturing the median to affluent group of income, and our multifamily products throughout Placer County are affordable for purchase for low income and up. Our rental price for apartments is in the affordability range for even our extremely low income users. And for those that still don't understand that multifamily is attractive and that there is demand for it, consider this. When a multifamily unit goes on the market in Placer County, it sells on average in 13 days for $45,000 higher than the asking price. Our Citizens-Initiated Smart Growth Plan invests entirely in a whole variety of multi-tenant dwellings. And as a result, we get lots of shared benefits. Our housing stock diversity in the 2-mile region skyrockets. We have a much faster access to work. Our job capacity increases. And our carbon footprint per capita in the Sunset area drops to 75% the national average.
With any development in the West Placer Prairie, the environment is going to change. This is just an interesting illustration of the bird species that currently occupy the site and how they will disappear and be replaced by other species when the development happens. Change is inevitable in that site because it has the zoning and the county has the intention of building it out. The Citizen-Initiated Smart Growth Plan is an opportunity to build it out in a manner that serves the needs of existing residents, not only people that are coming in from outside the area, as Genevieve demonstrated in the slide about housing price and affordability for existing residents. I mean, the question is, why are we absorbing all this growth? And Placer County has been the fastest growing county in the state and sometimes the nation for decades. Why is this growth priced at a rate that so far exceeds what people that live here can afford? It's time that we stopped the march of single-family sprawl, do smart growth, as we've described in the Citizen-Initiated Smart Growth Plan, protect the landscape that we need for our mental health and for the survival of our planet, and concentrate our growth in a smart, tight envelope so that we can have a balance of housing for all, an innovation ecosystem, and a habitat that can continue to sequester carbon and provide space for the species that just need to live today and into the future. So I'm inviting you to join us in our effort to move the county from the single-family sprawl template that they are pursuing, and help us pivot to a smart growth project with the Citizen-Initiated Smart Growth Plan. So join us at the Alliance for Environmental Leadership. We have regular meetings and we'd love your participation. Genevieve, do you have something you'd like to say?
Now, in this brief half hour, we've shared with you our big ideas and the overall framework for the Citizen-Initiated Smart Growth Plan. And there is a lot more to it than we can convey in half an hour. So we encourage you to download a copy of our plan or check out some of our other presentations, such as site analysis of the existing conditions and our water dynamics analysis for the ecosystem factors. And the Facebook link for the Alliance is at Alliance for Enviro Leadership. and we hope to connect with you soon.